Hello, and welcome to the Simple Marketing Solutions podcast. Today, I have the great honor to have as a guest Sandy Forster, who is the money mindset mentor for women worldwide who are ready to experience more abundance, prosperity, and money in their life. Sandy went from welfare to millionaire and was featured in Oprah, Aussie Secret. Hello, Sandy. Welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited to have you here to be discussing your infamous book that I have a copy of today as well. And I've been loving every minute of it. But, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to have you on the show to hear from you directly about your experience and how it can hopefully help, our listeners out there as well as their journey to entrepreneurship.
Oh,
So
thank you so much for having me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I love helping other entrepreneurs because I know the struggle that I had when I first started, and it was just also overwhelming. So yeah, I'm really pleased to be here.
No, it's fantastic to have you. As I've been reading the book, Sandy, which is called How to Be Wildly Wealthy Fast. I love the name. I do really enjoy the practical tips that you suggest in there. It makes it something that you can implement straight away. But I wanted to find out from you, what was your motivation to writing the book?
Good question. Okay, so for me personally, I was $100,000 in debt and on welfare. So I was in a really challenging place when it came to money. I had two kids, I was divorced, I had a business that I was trying to run that just really wasn't going anywhere. I was designing and manufacturing swim and gym wear, and my overdraft kept going and I just didn't know what to do. And very luckily, I came across a course that was based on mindset and the law of attraction. And I fell in love with it simply because I guess think about it, $100,000 in debt and on welfare. I was getting about $15,000 a year from the government, which is, in say US dollars, that's $7,500. So you can't survive. So to discover the law of attraction, to discover this thing that allowed me to think differently, and instead of focusing on how my life was, instead focus on how I want it to be, that was just really liberating, and really, I just felt so blissful. And things began to change and I was so excited. I just wanted to share what I knew with other people. I'd made up all these different processes and exercises and things that I did throughout the day to keep me focused on my ideal life, which was being a millionaire, which was having a beautiful house that someone couldn't put the rent up or kick me out of. It was, being able to travel, being able to have a car that didn't leak so much that every time it rained, a plant was growing in the back of it. So I just had all these big dreams, and being able to focus on that instead of my life, as I said, was just so blissful. So I wanted to share what I knew with other people. And I started to teach a teleseminar. This was before webinars, before you could actually see people. So it's just all over the phone. And I would teach groups of people, mainly from the US, about mindset and about how you could reprogram your subconscious. So I was combining sort of scientific principles with metaphysical, with what I like to call the woo-woo. And so by combining that, people used to get such change. And I love teaching those classes. But the class, because I got more and more information and more strategies to use, and I wanted to share more information, the teleseminar grew from. So as I got more and more processes and everything, the program grew from 4 weeks to 6 weeks to 8 weeks to 10 weeks to 12 weeks. And it just kept growing and growing. And I thought, the problem with it growing was that I had to increase the price. And it was really challenging because then I thought, well, I'm not going to reach the people that I really want to change, their lives. I'm not going to reach the entrepreneurs just starting out because the price is going to be too much. So I decided to take everything that I knew in that program that I created and turn it into a book. And, the other thing was, for me personally, I get very bored doing the same thing over and over. And that's why when I started putting all the different processes and exercises together to implement the law of attraction and to implement reprogramming my subconscious mind, I had to create lots of different things because if I was going to do the same thing every day, I'd get bored with it after a while, then I'd stop doing it, and then I wouldn't get the results that I wanted. So luckily, I came up with dozens and dozens of ways to keep me focused on what I wanted to create, which was being a millionaire. And yeah, it worked. So I went, as I said, from welfare to millionaire. And, you know, it really, that first step really was changing the way I thought about money, changing the way I thought about success. And by doing that, suddenly the practical steps that I was taking in my business started to work and everything turned around.
And, you know, I think that that's so important that you bring that up, because a lot of us go through the motions of starting a business or having these dreams and goals, but not knowing how to be practical about it and how to keep motivated. And you talk about prosperity and creating that space for prosperity, and that consciousness that we choose between prosperity and poverty. And I think that that's a really important aspect for people to really take time and understand. What do you mean by that?
So there's what I like to call such a thing as poverty consciousness or prosperity consciousness. And so we all, throughout our lives, throughout our days, throughout our hours, throughout our minutes, throughout our seconds, we're all focusing on something when it comes to prosperity. It's either how much I haven't got or what I would love to have. So most people actually focus on what they don't have. And as they continue to focus on that, that is what they continue to create and attract into their world. And there's a whole thing about the reticular activating system and how there's a gateway between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So I won't go into all of that, but basically you can train your brain as to what is really important, and you will go out into the world, and the things that were always there that your brain was filtering out, suddenly you see them, you experience them. So one of the things I love to do with my students is, people have maybe heard or read the book The Secret, and they understand about focusing on and thinking about what it is that they want. But it kind of missed the mark slightly, because I teach everyone that I work with, you've got to align body, mind, and spirit. So you've got to create space in all those areas. And what are those areas? Well, body, mind, spirit, it really just means your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And you know, what happens is most people are thinking thoughts that are cluttering their mind up with what they don't want. And so it's really hard to create what it is that you do want. So you've got to clear all that out. You've got to also clear out all those at a kind of emotional level, the things that are blocking you. So you've got old resentments, you've got old habits, you've got old things that have occurred in your life that kind of trigger you, make you feel annoyed when you think about them. You've got to clear them out. And then you've got to clear out your environment. You've got to clear out that space. You've got to, because abundance doesn't like clutter. You've got to get rid of all the clutter. And when you align body, mind, and spirit, when you declutter body, mind, and spirit, that's when the magic happens. Because too many people are out there thinking about abundance, even feeling abundant, but they're not taking any action. And, you know, I love that, the quote that Wallace Waddell said. He wrote a book back on 1910, so very, very old, called The Science of Getting Rich. Very old language, but one thing in there he said that I love. And he says, by thought, the thing you desire is brought to you, but by action, you receive it. In other words, what you desire, when you think about what you desire, is out there in the quantum field. It's out there in the universe. It's there waiting for you. But by action, it actually turns from the metaphysical into the physical, comes into your world. So that's why I'm really big on aligning body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah. And I think that is, you know, you've definitely hit the nail on the mark, because that is definitely something that I see with my clients, where they miss that. They miss one of those. And often, like you said, it's the taking the action. We might have the thoughts, we might have the right emotions, but we're not taking action. And also the importance that you said about decluttering each of those spaces within the body, mind, and spirit as well. Because oftentimes, even in your book, you talk about surrounding yourself with the right type of people that are going to allow you to grow. So again, that influences the way you think, your emotions,
Exactly.
and the actions that you take because of those people that open up those conversations and get you thinking and doing the
Thinking
right
bigger.
things.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then the other
Yeah.
side of that is some people are so busy doing the actions, like they are taking action like a crazy person, but they're
Yeah.
not aligning their thoughts and their feelings. And so, yeah, they're very super busy and it's all happening, but it's not happening. It's not flow. It's not making it easier. They're not attracting what they want. They're chasing after it. And so when you align body, mind, and spirit, that is where the magic happens.
Mm. So important. Thank you for reminding all of us about that, and how important it is for us to focus on all three elements and not just one, because it doesn't work that way. Um, and coming back to that practicality of what you've written in the book, you say the secret to creating abundance is combining practical actions with mindset techniques. Now, we've touched a little bit on that, but why is that?
Again, it comes back to if you're thinking about what you want, you're feeling you've already got it in your life, but you're not taking the action, then, I mean, we're not genies. We're not at this point
No.
where we can, rub a bottle or, blink our eyes or whatever, twitch our noses. We're not at that point. So action is just such a vital part of creation, of the creation process. But it is a part. And if you're only doing that without doing the other parts, then you're not going to create the success that you want. But what happens is when you get your thoughts and your feelings focused on what you want, then you come up with ideas that make things flow, that people are attracted to you, opportunities come to you, doors are open to you that would never have happened otherwise. So it's getting everything aligned and then taking action. Because I've taken action on ideas.
Mm.
One of the things I love to tell people is we're taught ready, aim, fire. Okay, so we're ready, come up with an idea, we aim, get everything all perfect and ready, and then we fire, we get started. I love to teach people ready, fire, aim. So it's get ready, come up with the idea, get going, and then aim, fix, tweak, improve later on. Because I found that in my own experience, I've come up with ideas that I have no idea how they're going to work, what's going to happen, but I just get going and they have been $1 million ideas. I've done that a few times. I just come up with an idea, run with it, and then fixed it up, made it better, improved it, made it exactly what I wanted it to be after I got started. Because I think too many people, particularly women, get a little bit stuck in sort of perfectionism, procrastination. They work on something forever, feeling that it's probably not good enough, so I'll just keep working on it. And they can spend weeks, months, sometimes years, and then they don't even end up launching it, or it's not actually what the market wants. So yeah, just get it out there, see what everyone says, and then make it better.
Yeah, because oftentimes, when we procrastinate to that extent, we can totally miss the boat. That opportunity sails by, and then you see somebody else has taken that idea and run with it and is doing it. And like you said, I do believe that if we take action and we just do it and put it out there, it's really when you do see what is going to work for the audience and the people that you're trying to capture and what isn't. And doing it in paper or in theory, you
They're
can
different.
never come up. It's totally different. Yeah, you can never come up with every scenario and work that out, by writing all of that out and then thinking, oh yeah, okay, I've got the perfect
Yeah.
execution plan. Now let's go with it. You're right. You do have to just get out there, do it, and then work on it from there.
Yeah.
Because
And we're
nothing's
so lucky
perfect from day
though.
one. Yeah.
One of the things that I find, like, we live in the best time. We're so lucky because we have access to the internet and we can have websites. And instead of having to get everything perfect, then go to the printer and get the graphic design work done and then get the brochures printed and then it's there. like physically, and you can't change it. It's like got to stay like that for as long as you want. We can decide something on our website, make a change, and the next day we can think, oh no, I'm going to include this or take that out or put the price up or change the price or put another bonus in. We can do whatever we want so easily. And so we live in such an amazing time. So, you know, I think because of that, we need to stop getting into this perfectionism and just do it. Just, as Nike says, just do it.
I know. It's one of my favorite things, and I say it to all my clients, just do it. Honestly, I don't think that it can be simpler than that. But, you know, you've given us so much to think about and to do, which is the key as well. The decluttering, I think, is so important. You know, when we've got, I wanted to touch on this, and I know that we've touched on it a little bit, but when we've got these big dreams and we, not even to the point of writing everything down and being all theoretical, but how do we take a dream and turn that around? Yes, taking action, I get that. But is there anything else that you feel we need to be doing in order for us to be achieving those dreams?
I mean, obviously there's a lot to do, but to distill it down into one little podcast, one of the things that I find is so powerful and often overlooked and often used in the wrong way is other people's successes. Now, a lot of people see people doing well online, see them posting things on social media, and instead of feeling happy for that person, they feel maybe angry, maybe resentful, maybe frustrated, maybe, you know, a bit embarrassed about where they're at. They start to compare. I think you should use successes as a way to catapult your own success, because there's something happens when you focus on someone else's success. I always teach, when you hear a success, and in my programs, that's how we start every single call. We share successes, and there's a process that we do. So you listen to the success, you get excited that you actually are in that energy of being able to hear someone else's success, that you're able actually to connect with it. Be grateful that you heard it, be happy for the other person, and then imagine that it's you that's created that success. Now, you may not want that exact success, so then imagine the feelings that you'd feel if you'd created a success that was as big as that. And by doing that, what happens is you put yourself into that same energy. And you know, what we focus on is what we create. So instead of focusing on someone's success and feeling less than, or I didn't do as good and it's not fair and blah, 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 and then just attracting more of that into your life, instead get excited, be grateful, be happy, and watch what happens for you.
I truly believe that that is so important and so overlooked, you know, in its simplicity of just really embracing everybody's success and changing the way that we perceive that. And like you said, stepping into the feelings and emotions that that person would be feeling and allowing us to soak that up and make it our own reality from that. It's definitely a very useful little tip that people can start doing straight away, or just changing the way that we think about things and that mindset that we tend to have, which, you know, oftentimes it's generational, ingrained in us to be like that. So it is an opportunity for us to be conscious and make that change for the better. So thank you for that little tip, Sandy.
Tiny tip, but very powerful, and it makes you feel amazing in the moment as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we can all do with more of that. Before we go, Sandy, is there any last piece of advice or inspiration that you'd love to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I think what I'd like to share is, you know, people often look at me, who's, you know, created a really successful international business and won awards and, you know, have a best-selling book and all these things, and think, oh, she's different. But I really want everyone to know that I dropped out of school. So I dropped out of high school, didn't even finish high school. I had no connections, no money behind me, no great skills. But I discovered the law of attraction. I discovered how to train my brain, and everything turned around. So I figure if I've been able to do it, anyone who's listening can do it too. It's really just a matter of committing to transformation and just watch the magic happen.
Thank you, Sandy. I really appreciate your time today. And thank you for putting that book out there into the universe, because we all need to read it and absorb it and take the action from it as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening today. Like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. I hope you find value from today's episode. And remember, if you've got friends and colleagues looking for inspiration as they grow their business, share this podcast with them. Follow me on Instagram at Holistic Vision Consultancy, or check out my website, holisticvision.com.au. Until next week, to your success, my friend.